Let us continue with the paper 4, that is in the UPSC civil service examination. The mains examination consists of general studies paper 4, famously known as ethics paper. In present day, what we are seeing across the world, so the way the officers, the governments are behaving, how the services are provided to the citizens, how the people are involved in the corruption. So we know that how the different scams are being exposed, right? And the people are not doing their duties in a proper way. Means everyone is finding a shortcut, okay? But if a common man does it, it is going to affect him or his family and to society certain extent. But what if a administrator, if an administrator is involved in corruption, if an administrator is not delivering his duties properly, if the administrator is not worried about the fellow citizens, then it will be disastrous, correct? The lot of resources are being wasted or being misused, correct? The administrator in any department, it may be, if he is not performing well in the education department, you know what is the toll on the students. If an administrator in the forest department is not performing his duty, then not only administrator, as a government as a whole, basically administration we can say, okay? So what happens? Our right to health will be compromised. The administrators means not only us, it may be, means we say that political and also the political executives, the ministers, that is the government side, okay, means political side. Here the officers, on the basis of the merit, they are getting selected. So we need the honest, upright and the bold administrators. Keeping all these things in mind, and it is not like that the honest officer does not mean just he is not like one who is not involved in the corruption or one who is not misusing the government resources. Okay, just by being honest, it may not serve any purpose to the society. So we need the administrator who is aware of all his rights, duties, one who can think of fellow citizens, one who thinks at most that at any cost I want to reach the government facilities to the people. So one who is proactive in providing the service to the people is the need of the hour. Okay, so it is not about like good or bad. It is not like good officer or bad officer. It's not like honest or dishonest. It is ultimately whether the people of India are administered well or provided with a wonderful life opportunities. So it all depends upon the administration, right? So UPSC has introduced this paper with the intention to inculcate or to remind the values which are essential for the administration. Here I am focusing on administration or administrators mainly because this paper is focusing on them. Yes, ethics is required everywhere. It may be in the political sphere, or it may be in the common man sphere, or it may be professionals like doctors, engineers. Everywhere it is applicable, no doubt about it. But we are dealing with this subject mainly from the perspective of an administrator. Okay, apart from the common traits which are required for the any common man, so administrator need to possess some things, okay, which are very essential for the smooth functioning. Okay, so this paper, like mainly it can be divided like ethics, integrity and aptitude. So here they say that This paper will include questions to test the candidate's attitude and approach to issues, very important, approach to issues relating to integrity, probity in public life, and his problem solving approach, very important, and his problem solving approach to what? Various issues and conflicts faced by him in dealing with the society. Okay, questions may utilize the case study approach to determine these aspects. The following broad areas will be covered. See, again, let us understand this. It wants to check the attitude and approach of the candidate. What is the meaning of attitude? Like, what is the perception of that person towards that subject? Okay, attitude. See, it may be good or bad. Okay, say attitude towards a particular thing may be good or bad. Okay, it is not just like negative, or it is not just like positive. So what kind of perception he is having, basically, and approach to the issues, how he is going to tackle that problem. Okay, and the integrity and probity in public life, how honest he is, how bold he is, how upright he is. Okay, and his problem solving skills, very, very important. The present world is posing so many challenges to the administrators. You need to tackle all those things. The new kind of problems are arising. Every day he will be facing with the challenges in his life. Day-to-day challenges, how he is going to handle. So he need to be capable of that. Mentally he need to be equipped with those skills. The problem solving skills. For what? Various issues and conflicts faced by him in the society, dealing with the society. It's not that easy. A good program may fail because of the attitude of the society. People may not be interested. Government want to vaccinate the people, but people may be out of fear or something, so they are not interested. How administrator will convince them? How he will take care of the program and he will make it successful? Correct? So the society poses a lot of problems. Sometimes the students or the children will be deprived of their education because of the caste biasness in the villages. How he is going to deal with this? Whether using only law and order, means using the only police mechanism, or will he use convincing mechanisms? Right? It is not that easy. It is not that easy because it is deep rooted in the society. That discriminate certain caste. How to overcome that? So different types of problems will arise in the society. And they are telling questions may utilize the case study approach. Okay, case study approach to determine that how you will handle the scenarios. Okay, how you will handle the scenarios. For example, there is a railway station and two tracks are there. So actually a train is supposed to come on the track number 1. Okay, train is supposed to come on the track number 1. On track 2, a railway employee is working. On track 2, railway employee is working. Immediately 5 villagers, without awareness, okay, so they started, they are on the track 1 where the train is supposed to come. So 5 people, and you see from far away place, like where you are controlling the path of the train. Okay, it is in your hand whether to allow the train in the track 1 or in the track 2. Here is only one person, and here it is 5 people, villagers, innocent people, not aware of anything. So they are going on the track 1. Where you will allow them? Where you will allow them? Means the train which path you will choose. Whether you will allow the train to enter the track 1 as per the schedule or the track 2. If you allow here, 5 people will be killed. If you allow here, 1 railway person will be killed. So which path you will choose? Okay, it is a small case study. UPSC will not give such case study. But these are the basics. So dilemma starts in your mind. Okay, somebody will say like, okay sir, I will go to track 1 because it is already decided, scheduled. And some may say that, no sir, it is better to kill 1 person rather than 5 people. After knowing that this person is your father or relative, again your decision may change, may not change. So many thinkings will come, thoughts will come. So which one is correct and which one is wrong? Right? So we need to analyze using the case study. So UPSC will give case studies like, okay, so a bridge being constructed and it is ready for inauguration. As an engineer at the lower level, you will find out some cracks in the bridge. Okay, now whether you are going to allow that inauguration of the bridge or you are going to halt that bridge. So what are the consequences? What are the issues associated with this? So you need to analyze that in detail. Okay. Anyway, so before seeing what are the case studies, what is the basics of this, we need to see the syllabus in detail first. We need to understand the syllabus. What actually they are checking, what actually they are expecting from you people. Okay. So the first part means here there is no need to segregate the part actually, even though it says that ethics, integrity and aptitude, because we cannot segregate as a separate part and deal with the situation. So you need to use all the content everywhere. Okay. Anyway, so it contains ethics and human interface. So what is basically ethics is? What is basically ethics? We all say that ethics need to be there in the life. Ethics is the need of ours. What is ethics? We also see like words morality. What is morality? What is ethics? So as of now, let us understand one thing. Ethics is basically a science which says that what is right and what is wrong. What is right and what is wrong. For example, in the earlier scenario, I said here 5 people are there and here 1 person is there. If the train is allowed on the track 1, 5 people will be killed. And if it is allowed on track 1, 1 person will, so track 2, 1 person will be killed. So here, according to some people, this is right. According to some people, this is right. So what is right and what is wrong? Anyway, that we will deal and understand different theories. Basically, we will understand one thing. Ethics is a science which deals what is right and what is wrong. Okay. Ethics and a human interface. Human interface. See, ethics is not applicable to animals. First and very important thing. Ethics is not applicable to animals. A lion will hunt a deer. But if a man kills another man, so that is considered as unethical, right? Okay, the human interface. So where all actually the ethics is involved. Okay, the essence of this subject, essence of ethics, determinants. Okay, on what basis you are saying that this is ethical or not ethical? Correct? What are the consequences of ethics in human actions? Okay, dimensions of ethics. Ethics in private and public relationship. Here it is talking about the determinant and consequences of ethics. So what decides determinant? That is, what decides it is right? If somebody is saying this is right, what motivated them to say that? Because they may be talking about, yes, it is already allocated. People are aware of that it is going to come here. It is their ignorance, they need not come. Okay. So it is scheduled and you are just doing your duty to allow it to track number 1. So determinant. Some say that instead of killing 5, better to kill 1 person. Okay, they are going with a number which helps the majority people. So that is a determinant. Correct? Your path may be a determinant. End result may be important for someone. For someone, honestly writing the exam may be important. So for someone, getting the seat is important, whether it is a honest way or dishonest way. For some people, based upon personality, yes, he is doing good things, it's a good person. So determinants, like on what basis you are saying that is right or wrong. And consequences of ethics, definitely yes. Every action will have some consequence. Whatever you take, definitely it will have some repercussions. If you allow it to track number 1, some consequence you need to face. Track 2, again you need to face some consequence. Okay. So the consequences of this ethics means by following this thing. Okay. In human actions. Okay. What do you mean by human action? So I am doing this. Is this a human action? No. It is not about just your physics. Okay. It is not about your physics action. It is dealing with the ethics, human action. If I am doing something on my own will, then we can say that it is a human action. Okay. If somebody is holding my hand and making me to shoot some person, is it a human action? No. Okay. Anyway, in the subject we'll understand in depth. We'll understand what is human action. Okay. So it is in one word now, as of now I can say, if I am doing on my own will, voluntarily, okay, so that I can say that it is a human action. My free will should be there. Okay. Somebody should not force me. Or even after knowing something I am involved in that. Even after knowing the consequence, okay, if by ignorance also if I do, yes, it's a human action. Okay. How it will impact, correct? The consequence of ethics and determinants, how it will impact the human action. Dimensions of ethics. See, on papers ethics may be different, and in reality it is different. So we can say that the meta-ethics, which are going to study about ethics itself, what is right and what is wrong. So theoretical discussion. Another side we can see the applied ethics, the different dimensions of ethics. Okay, in practice how it is. Okay, and ethics in private and public relationship, very, very important. As an administrator, you are going to deal with both personal as well as public life. In the personal life, you may be a father, you may be a brother, you are a husband, so you are playing different roles. But as an administrator, you are playing a bigger role in the society. Both are existing at the life simultaneously. You cannot escape from private life when you are handling with the public life. Or you cannot escape from the public life when you are handling with the private life. So, how ethics is there in the or applicable in private and public relationships? Very, very important. So, you need to balance them. Right? Your child may be out of school because just fees is not paid or something. Okay. You may be a bank manager. Okay, or you may be a bank cashier. So you may be handling lakhs of money every day, but you cannot take the money out of it. But is it applicable? For example, somebody is in the deathbed. If you give money, he will survive. So can we use the same principle at that time? Can you use the public money to save that person's life? So a lot of confusions, right? So anyway, we need to understand the private and public relationships in the context of ethics. how we need to balance, how we need to handle, how we need to segregate them, make them two separate compartments, watertight compartments. So, syllabus talks about human values. Human values. What is basically a value? Why you call truth as a value? Why you call honesty as a value? In simple words, I can say that if the society want to have it or respect something and it gets benefit out of it, so it may be anything. It may be truth, or it may be honesty, or it may be transparency, whatever it may be. If something is respected by the society and society wants to have it in the society and it will get benefited out of it. Okay, so they are considered as values. Especially values, the moment we say that, we are not talking about animal values. And what is the human should possess, like how the human should treat another animal, that is human value. Okay, anyway, human values are very, very important. So because of these values, okay, what is the basic purpose of this subject, ethics? For the smooth functioning of the society. So it should not be like anarchy, or it should not be like in a disorder so that it will collapse. Ultimate aim of ethics is to make the society go in a smooth order, smooth fashion, so that everyone can live peacefully, happily, right? So here the lessons from the lives of and teachings of great leaders, reformers, administrators need to be discussed, because we can learn from their life. We can learn from the Gandhi. Gandhi was not part of the Constituent Assembly while making the constitution, but many Gandhian followers were there. So when they asked, what you expect from us, he said only one thing. It is famously known as Gandhi's talisman. What is that? If you want to perform your duty, if you want to make something new law, new rule, new scheme, just look at the poorest of the poor in the society. If your scheme is going to benefit him, then it is the right thing. That is the Gandhi's talisman. Gandhi's life itself is a teaching. It is a demonstration, live demonstration. His values for truthfulness, non-violence, satyagraha concept. Wonderful concepts, right? We need to learn from those leaders. We need to learn from Nehru. We need to learn from Abdul Kalam. So different leaders we have seen. So it is the list is never ending. Like reformers. How Rajaram Mohan Rai reformed the society. How he tried to inculcate the scientific values in the society. How he questioned the sati system. Okay, how he tried to eradicate that from the society. What kind of effort he has put in. So those kind of reformers like Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Vivekananda, Jyotiba Phule, right? So many reformers are there. So we need to understand them. Okay, list is never ending. Okay, never ending. That many people we have, but how many things we know about the reformers or the leaders or the administrators? How the post-independence India is sufficient with the milk, correct? With the help of the Varghese Kurian, right? How the green revolution has taken place. How the administrators have put their lot of effort in building a modern India. So we need to learn the lessons from their lives. That is the best example for us. In the present scenario also, how a person can take up the challenging task like Delhi Metro. Okay, so in such congested area, how successfully to build that metro and which can serve the lakhs of people in a daily mobility. So we need to understand all those things. Role of family, society and education institution in inculcating values, very, very important. Today, if I am doing something good, that is because of the role of my family. How my father has inspired me. How he used to freely educate the students. That I have seen in my eyes when I was a child. So that value is inculcated from my family. How my mother is taking care of the people. How my sisters are taking care. Okay, so those values are inculcated in me because of the family. How my grandmother is showing the love and passion. So that makes us to give the same thing to others. Okay, so the role of family is very, very important. So how you are brought up. Society. Okay, society also means it is not just a family, that your friends, the unknown persons, but they will influence you. Correct? And the educational institutions, they play a bigger role. After the family and society, education institutions are the one which mold you like this. Today we are something means because of our teachers. They have given us the values. They have taught us the values. So education institutions, because a person spends most of his time in the education institutions. So he will learn the values. How a primary teacher, okay, help me to understand the importance of food. Not to waste the food. So if it is seeded in the childhood, okay, it will be there forever. Okay, so the human values. Next it talks about the attitude. That is, as I said, what perception we have about something. If I see alcohol, what is my perception towards it? Correct? If I may be seeing it as bad, but a doctor may be seeing it as a good, because it acts like a medicine. So perception. That means it is like this is correct or that is wrong. No. Okay. So the attitude. That means, is it inbuilt? That is, from birth we have some attitude towards something? No. Definitely we are influenced and we develop some attitude towards it. So we need to understand content, structure, functions. Content, structure and functions of attitude. Okay, content, like on what basis you are saying. Okay, whether is it because of our cognitive mode, means our thinking ability, or it is affection towards something. Correct? Affection towards something. Okay, that can be reflected in our behaviors. By seeing some object or some person, how we behave definitely shows our attitude towards it. Someone can easily understand what is our perception towards it. Okay. So what is the structure and function? Attitude plays a bigger role in the society. The Prime Minister of India talks about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Okay. And how he follows in his life. In a book release event, okay, after releasing that book, whatever that wrapper, the waste, he keeps in his pocket. That shows that his commitment towards that. Okay, that really conveys a lot. That really conveys a lot to the society. That is the function. Okay, so there are different functions we need to understand about attitude. Attitude is everything. As an administrator, you need to have positive attitude in the society with respect to problem. If you feel like I can solve it, okay, so definitely will solve those problems. Its influence and relation with the thought and behavior, definitely yes. So what perception we have, in that fashion we'll behave. If you are having a good attitude towards something, so we'll show our positive behavior. If you hate something, we'll show our negative behavior towards it. So thought and behavior. What kind of thought we have? Definitely, see this attitude. See, if you start thinking about something, we can start developing the attitude. Correct? Definitely, this attitude will have direct impact on our thought and also the behavior. So how? We need to understand that with different models, different theories. Correct? How our mind is conditioned, that we need to understand. The moral and political attitudes. Yes, it is separate. A particular issue, how we see from the individual angle, moral angle, how a government sees it. For example, you may be feeling pity about the person, illegal immigrants. People might have arrived to India illegally, okay? Or a person, an illegal migrant may be working in your home, okay? How you feel? The government announces that illegal migrant should be immediately sent back. How you feel individually, that is a moral attitude. But the political attitude talks about things about the security of the nation. If something goes wrong, whole country will be under threat. We don't know. He or she may be a terrorist, but you never know that, right? Example. So that political attitudes are having diverse kind of thinkings. The political attitude may be socialism or Marxism or the capitalism. So this depends upon the type of ideology. The political attitude also depends upon the ideology we follow. Social influence. Social influence. Yes, we are all influenced. Okay. For example, when we go to attend for national festivals, okay, if somebody purchases a flag, okay, what about the group? The remaining people will also tend to purchase that flag, okay. So that's social influence. How it is that very strong? It's very strong. If somebody does, and other people will follow it in the society, okay. And an individual is mostly influenced from the society. The social influence is very, very strong, okay. And also the connected topic, the persuasion, convincing. If a DC in his district faces a challenge that the people are not ready to take the vaccine, they are having the fear. Or in a whole nation, the people having the fear. People are having the fear that it will have some side effects and all. If the Prime Minister is taking that vaccine and showing that no side effects, means he is healthy, so that will convince them. Persuasion. So as an administrator, you need to face a lot of challenges. You need to convince them. See, using the power or the police power, that is basically law and order tactics, will not help you. Anyway, so what are the different types of persuasion? How we can convince the people? We need to understand. Aptitude and foundation value of civil service. Aptitude. That is whether you are trainable or not. Whether you are having aptitude to become an officer means what? Aptitude means whether you are having that skill, having that ability to become officer or not. Okay. Are you trainable? Basically, in the interview, they will check your aptitude. The chances of getting selected in the young age is more. The reason is this one. Because it's easily trainable. Means over the period of time, some ideologies will develop. So it becomes very difficult to train them. Anyway, so aptitude. Whether you are trainable, whether you are having the ability to inculcate some values and skills required for the administration. Okay, so aptitude and foundation value for civil service. See, it is not talking about the values, the human values. Here talking about what are those civil service values, which are the foundation for civil service, okay, which act as a foundation. So what are those important values? Yes, integrity. You need to adhere to the basic principles. Here we are not discussing about the subject because each and every word takes 1 hour to discuss. We need to understand the syllabus, actually what it talks about basically. So integrity, you need to adhere to the principles, the core values, or the secrecy, whatever you need to maintain. So what the office demands, you need to have it. Impartiality, irrespective of the people. For example, if you are an officer and you are receiving the 2 applications, okay, one is from the other fellow citizen, another is your from family. Even though they are of the same qualities or the criterias, so both need benefit from the government. Whom you will serve? How impartial you are. If you serve the other person instead of your family, so what your family member has done wrong? Just because he is your family member, he is losing one opportunity. If you are helping your or giving the benefit to the family citizen, I am taking the condition, critical condition, like only one should be given the benefit. You don't have option to serve both in that scenario. So why the fellow citizen, okay, should not be deprived of that facility? Just because he is a family member, you are giving him the facility. Both are like questionable. So how impartially you will behave without taking any side, how you will handle the situation. Non-partisanship. Non-partisanship. There are many ideologies in the society, many parties in the society based on those ideologies. Okay, so you should work independently of all those things. Non-partisanship, neither favoring this party or not that party. Okay, so non-partisanship. Objectivity, you should not act based upon your emotions, based upon the objectivity, that is the rational thinking. Why you are doing this? What is the reason behind that? Not just based upon the emotion. Dedication to public service. To what extent you are dedicated? I have discussed with a senior officer, and he is like working 24/7 for the welfare of the people. I asked, sir, don't you think that you are overburdened and still you want to, or still are you having that motivation to serve the people? He said me one thing. See, when I am doing like overnight work sometimes, okay, in order to make some scheme successful or make the benefits of the government reach the beneficiary, at that time I feel, why I am working this much? I feel how much I work and what is the reward. So it is not matching. I feel exhausted. But all that exhaustion, that tiredness will go away when the beneficiary, a single beneficiary, not a lakh. So the benefit may be reaching lakhs of people, but at least one person will come and say to me that because of this I am leading my life happily. Okay, so that gives me satisfaction, and all my exhaustion, tiredness, everything will go away. So that is the dedication. Okay, so he is dedicating his life to public service. Okay, so that is the basis of this civil service. Okay, that is the foundation. So empathy, tolerance, compassion towards the weaker section, very, very important. As I said, the Gandhian talisman. We need to understand the problems of the people. Okay, we need to put ourselves in their shoes, then only we can understand them. Okay, so that is empathy. Tolerance, we need to have the same mentality towards all the sections of the people. Compassion, we need to think about them and help them out. What is the best possible way? Need to remember one thing, rules are for the public sake, not other way around. Publics are not for rules sake. Okay, I hope you remember Gandhi used to break the rules. Why? Because they are against the people. So we need to understand that and help the weaker section of the society. Okay. And then another very, very important topic is emotional intelligence. We all know what is intelligence. What is intelligence? It is basically application of the knowledge. Then what is emotional intelligence? What are the concepts and their utilities and how we apply them in the administration and governance? See, how you apply, how you understand the emotions of yourself and also the fellow person, means the one who is in front of you. If you are able to understand their emotions and use the emotions in the right direction, so that both will be getting benefited. Ultimately, whole society is getting benefited. That is the emotional intelligence, how you are using, understanding one's own emotions and applying them for the situation. If you are scolding your fellow officer, okay, he has not done something work. Some work is pending. Maybe someone in his family may be hospitalized. We don't know. Without understanding, if he scold, okay, he will feel bad. Earlier, he might have done so much good work. So you need to understand the personalities and you can think about it. In the society, you might have observed. So those who have scored top, maybe for example, a person has just cleared his exam by securing 35%, another person scored 90%. Who are successful in their real life? So we don't have that correlation with their knowledge. You might have observed. One who is a backbencher may be a successful person in their life. So how it's happening? Okay. So actually emotional intelligence plays an important and bigger role in the administration also. Contribution of the moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. Okay. Like the philosophies from India, like Buddha, Mahavira, right? Gandhian philosophy. And the world, like Aristotle, Plato, Jeremy Bentham, Immanuel Kant. So, the moral thinkers and philosophers from the world. Okay, we need to understand what are those philosophies, how they are relevant in the present context. UPSC wants to know how that is important in the present context. That is very, very important. Present context. Next, public civil service values and ethics in public administration. Okay, that civil service values and ethics in public administration. How you are going to use all those things. Okay, status and problems. Okay, here we are learning so many things, like what is the importance of transparency, what is the importance of honesty, right? So how we are going to use that in administration, we need to understand status and problems. It's easy to say, yes, everyone should be accountable. Okay, so ethical concerns and dilemmas in the government and private institutions. Laws, rules, regulations and consents as a source of ethical guidance. For example, if you feel like everyone should be questioned, yes, fine. If you include Prime Minister in the Lokpal, that he should be questioned. Fine. It is fair. You feel like it is fair, everyone should be questioned, no doubt about it. But if you don't put some restrictions, okay, every day thousands of litigations will be against the Prime Minister. Whether he should sit in Lokpal to solve these cases or he should work for the nation. So it's easier to say that yes, everyone should be questioned, but when it comes to practicality, it will not serve the real purpose. Prime Minister, instead of sitting in the PM office, will be sitting in the Lokpal office every day to answer the queries. So that's, we need to understand anyway that how the dilemmas, correct, ethical concerns in government, Just I have taken one example. It is very, very important. Like, if yes, every rupee should be accountable, correct. If you keep on questioning about small events also, okay, so that will not serve the basic purpose itself. Okay, so it is not just in government, also in the private institutions, this problem will be there. Okay, the laws, rules, regulations, and conscience as a source of ethical guidance. So what we need to follow? So which is more ethical? Just following the rules, law, is it ethical? The traffic police will not allow a car which is carrying a patient in a critical condition just because it is one way. Is that fine? Should he break that law or not? So his law is ethical. We need to understand. Rules are made, whether to follow the rules always or we need to break them. Regulations and conscience. Sometimes our mind says that do this. So which one should be taken as the source of ethical guidance? Which is better guide for us in such scenarios in the public life? What is better? We need to understand that. Accountability and ethical governance. Accountability. Yes, everyone should be accountable. Just now I have discussed the case of Prime Minister and the Lokapal issue. Accountability. Whatever you do, yes, it should be accountable. Okay, how the governor should be there, whether the scheme or the benefits are reaching the people or not. Okay, strengthening the ethical and moral values in governance. How you need to develop that? How to inculcate these values? How to make people not involved in the corruption? How to motivate the people to work towards the citizens' benefit of the society? So we need to understand the code of ethics here. Ethical issues in international relations and funding. Yes, we know that some international organizations will fund the local NGOs so that they can create problem in the society for the Indian administration. Correct? So what are those international ethical issues? The global warming is happening and whole world will suffer because of that. But the countries are fighting. So I don't want to reduce the emissions. It is your responsibility, you reduce it. So is it not a issue in the international relation? How to handle that? Correct? The ice caps are melting. Okay. If it is melting, whether to use that road for the shortest distance, to travel the shortest distance, whether to take that benefit or not. Correct? So terrorism is a global issue. Some state actors, some countries are supporting it. So how to handle such thing, such scenarios? Okay, and corporate governance. The companies are growing, making profit. Okay, but they are taking everything from this society only, right? Okay, what responsibility they have, like towards the society? They too, apart from paying tax, correct? They are paying tax, no doubt about it. But they have some responsibility towards the society. So how the corporate governance should be there? We need to understand. Next is probity in governance. Probity in governance. Probity is basically the extreme honesty, boldness, uprightness. It is not just one word. The concept of public service. What is actually public service? We need to understand that. Some officers will behave like as if they are the kings and the fellow citizens are like their subordinates. It is not the scenario. We need to understand what is actually public services. We are their servants. Correct? We need to reach them. What is the philosophical basis of the governance and probity? We need to understand. We'll tell the stories with respect to how actually the government came into picture in this. Okay? And how much probity is essential in this society. Okay, we need to understand that information sharing and transparency in government. It is the right of every citizens to know what is going in the government. Information sharing. Okay, very important. So we have seen Right to Information Act. It is his right to know what all the things are going around him. Okay, so transparency in the government. It should be open. The details of the scheme or other things should be open. Okay, whenever the citizen wants, he should be able to access it, because it is his government. He is sending you people to make good for him. Okay, so right to information, code of ethics, how to behave. Okay, code of conduct, how not to behave. Code of ethics says that how to behave in the public setup. Code of conduct says how not to behave. After you become officers, you are going to study this code of conduct, and you need to clear that exam also. Okay, very important. Citizen charter. A citizen cannot wait for a service for infinite time. He should be knowing, if I apply for birth certificate, I will get in 6 days. If I apply for land records, I will get it in 7 days. He should be knowing. Citizen charter. So he will not keep on coming to government office for the service. He knows his limits. Means he knows what is given to him. Work culture is very essential. In India, we have yes boss culture. We don't know how to say no, but that creates a problem. Whenever the higher official says to lower person, please do this work, yes, he will say yes. But what is the repercussion of it? What kind of culture we are developing? What need to be developed? Okay, whether it's a boss and employee culture or it's a leadership culture. So what kind of work culture we have? How to change it? Or is there any need to change it or not? So we need to understand that. And quality of service delivery, very important. It is not about just service delivery. Quality is very important. Okay, you are giving the information, but unrelated information, that is of no use. A farmer asks for the land rates in his surrounding area. Okay, as an officer, you need to get the clarity if he is not asking clearly. Okay, that for which year you need and what is the scope limit. Instead of that, an officer gave him, okay, lakhs of pages since from the independence. So can a farmer make use of it? Really not. So the quality of service delivery is very important. Okay, taking care of a mother, a scheme may be there, but how effectively it is given, how actually it is tracked, how it is actually ensured that both mother and baby are fine even up to 5 years. So quality of service delivery matters. Utilization of public funds, very important. Even a single rupee from the public funds need to be accounted. Okay, we should not use it for unnecessary purpose. We need to rationalize it. The public funds are like a fire, so we need to be very careful. We should not misuse it. Okay, so it should not be like, okay, it is a big lake kind of thing, water, sufficient water is there. If I take one bottle of water, no problem, right? So if everyone start thinking like that, what will happen? So the utilization of public funds, very important. The challenges of corruption. So there is no definition for corruption. Who is corrupt? By taking 10 rupee, is he a corrupt? Taking 10,000 is a corrupt? Or he is not taking any benefit, so he is working for only 6 hours per day instead of 8 hours. 2 hours he is stealing. Whether he is a corrupt, or he is doing means there in the office for 16 hours but not doing any work. So he is following the rules. So who is corrupt? What is the issues of corruption? This is the biggest thing. How government is dealing with this? How many laws are there? Why even after so many laws, why it is not stopping? The reason is about lack of values, lack of ethics in the public life, the challenges of corruption. It is multiple, it is multidimensional, I can say. It is not just one. Yes, we need to understand that. And case studies on the above issues. So they will give the case studies like you as an officer will go to a department where a lot of corruption is involved, a lot of mismanagement of funds is there. How you will handle such scenario? Okay, and you are in charge of benefiting the weaker sections, and in order to help them, you need to compromise with the environment. That is, you need to remove some part of the forest. Is that okay? How you are going to deal with it? So you need to do means start mining in a particular place. So for that purpose, you need to shift the tribal people from that area. So are you okay with that? How you are going to handle such scenario? And a flood is there in a area. Flood is there in a area. So boat owners are not cooperating with you. They are demanding higher charges. How will you handle such scenario? So lot of cases will come across you. So UPSC wants to test that how you are going to deal with those case studies. Okay, in the class, first we need to understand the different theories. We need to make our base strong. Then we have to handle the case studies. Okay, there is absolutely nothing like this is correct and this is wrong. Everything is correct and everything is wrong. But what is correct from the perspective of the government administration, we need to understand. Okay, so that we will be discussing in the classes. Okay, the interesting subject, wonderful subject, and which is essential for our life, not just for our administrator. In every walks of life, this subject helps us to grow ourselves. This makes us a beautiful world. This helps us to create a beautiful society, beautiful people, helps us to maintain a good relation with other people. So really wonderful subject which is essential for your life, right? Okay, so this completes our discussion about the general studies papers, like 4 papers, general studies 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and how about essay, right? Essay paper, one, if you want to say in one word, I can say like the knowledge about all these subjects help you to write the essay. But how to write a essay? Okay, anyway, that also for 250 marks. So we need to understand how to write a beautiful essay. So which essay technique is better? So that will be handled in a separate class. Means a separate session will be there. Okay, and also you can refer to Topper's Talk by Mithun Kumar, one who secured all India rank 130 and presently working as a SP. So he has discussed, it is already available in our channel, okay, YouTube channel. So there you can see how to write an essay. In the Topper's Talk session, you can refer to that. Anyway, another separate session will be there, so about essay. Okay, so and with respect to optional subject, yes, it will be based upon the subject. Separate videos are available for that, or separately we'll discuss. Okay, thank you.